During comments about the New York mayoral race, London Mayor Sadiq Khan once again framed criticism of major cities like London and New York as attacks on progressive, liberal, and multicultural success stories. He suggested that people only criticize such cities because they represent the opposite of nationalism or traditionalism. We'll dive into this story in today's video, but before we get started, don't forget to like this video and subscribe. Right now, only 12% of viewers are subscribed, so join the community and help us grow. But many would argue that public frustration has far less to do with ideology, and far more to do with reality. Residents in both cities aren't angry about modern values. They're angry about rising crime, homelessness, unaffordable housing, and the sense that their local leaders are out of touch with what's happening on the streets. When people are worried about safety, cleanliness, and affordability, they don't want to be told that their concerns are simply nativist. They want solutions. They want leadership that deals with real problems instead of spinning them as political attacks. Both London and New York share similar struggles: record levels of violent crime, deepening inequality, and overstretched public services. To dismiss those concerns as intolerance or fear of change completely misses the point. It's easy for politicians to celebrate diversity and liberal values. It's much harder to deliver safe streets, working transport systems, and communities that actually function. If mayors like Sadiq Khan want to defend their cities, they should start by listening to the people who live in them, not lecturing them for daring to notice what's going wrong. Have a watch of this.
I come from New York, where we're hearing an awful lot about London. It's being caricatured and stereotyped in the context of this mayoral race by the president, by one of the candidates for mayor as well. It's being portrayed as a place that's out of control, a lot of crime. There's a heavy amount of Islamophobia in there as well. What's your response to that, the way that London is being used as sort of something being held up in the New York mayoral campaign?
Well, first, I've got lots of friends who are in New York, and I think New York is the second greatest city in the world. Look, there's a reason why there are some people hate London and hate New York. There's a reason why they demonize London and now indeed New York. Why? Because we are progressive cities, we are liberal cities, we are multicultural cities, and we're incredibly successful. We are the antithesis of nativist, populist commentators and politicians. And I think, listen, the fact that in New York you may elect somebody who's a Muslim is neither here nor there. It's what are his policies? What are his vision? What does he want to do for the people of New York? And I think, listen, it says more about the people criticizing, Zohran Mamdani's ethnicity and faith. It says more about them, what they're all about, than it says about him.
What people want from their leaders isn't political spin. It's honesty in action. Londoners and New Yorkers aren't complaining because their cities are progressive. They're frustrated because the quality of life is declining, and those in charge seem unwilling to admit it. True leadership means confronting uncomfortable truths, not dismissing them as prejudice. Until mayors like Sadiq Khan acknowledge the real issues, crime, affordability, and safety, their words will sound increasingly out of touch. Pride in a city doesn't come from slogans. It comes from feeling secure, respected, and heard. That's what people are asking for, and it's long past time they got it. In other news, Keir Starmer has been urged to come clean over the true cost of the government's digital ID scheme. Science Minister Lord Valence has said the cost of introducing the IDs will be met within the existing spending review over the spending review period. But the former chief scientific advisor has refused to reveal how much the scheme is actually expected to cost. The last time a Labour government proposed a national ID scheme, in 2004, official estimates put the cost at around £5.5 billion over 10 years. Research by the London School of Economics later suggested the actual cost could have been as high as £19.2 billion for the same period. So Tony Blair's government faced criticism at the time for cost estimates described by leading academics and researchers as vastly underestimated, and his successor's current proposals have sparked renewed concern over whether ministers have done their financial homework. Leading digital ID proponents, the Tony Blair Institute and Labour Together, say Keir Starmer's scheme will cost between £400 million and £1 billion initially, with annual running costs of between £10 million and £100 million. Shadow Chancellor Sir Mel Stride said, "Any responsible government should have a proper grip on the numbers before making this kind of national announcement." But yet again, it appears Labour is writing headlines before doing its homework. Sir Mel added, "This approach is reckless, and as ever, it's hard-working taxpayers who will be left footing the bill." MPs have also voiced concerns over an apparent lack of transparency from Sir Keir's party, with SNP Deputy Westminster Chief Pete Wishart accusing the government of being coy about the finances. He told the Commons last week, "They are reluctant to give us even a ballpark figure. All our constituents should be asking every MP whether we should spend billions of pounds on a scheme that nobody wants, and that there is no demand for when a cost of living crisis is raging in every single one of our constituencies." Mr. Wishart's remarks follow almost 3 million people signing a petition urging the government not to introduce digital IDs. Reform UK's Richard Tice has vowed to scrap them on the first day in government if his party is elected. Mr. Tice said, "The vast majority of Brits already carry multiple IDs. There's zero excuse for introducing a digital one. Now we learn that this scheme won't just trample the freedoms of honest law-abiding citizens. It'll disadvantage our most vulnerable and potentially lock them out of society." The PM had promised to make everyday life easier for millions through the scheme. He has also confirmed the full cost will not be known until the end of the government's consultation period. The Home Affairs Select Committee, chaired by Dame Karen Bradley, has now released all new written evidence submitted on digital IDs to her committee. But businesses and charities have once again raised concerns, warning the government of the significant costs involved. One ID cautioned that the scheme will incur heavy costs to manage issuance for the whole population. Written evidence from the Royal National Institute of Blind People also voiced their concerns over the costs of connection, devices, and assistive technology for more than 360,000 blind and partially sighted individuals in the UK. The organisation warned that digital IDs could place those people at a substantial disadvantage. Alan Miller, the head of the Together Declaration campaign group, said, "This government is treating the British public with utter contempt. There was no mention of forced digital ID in any manifesto. Nowhere have we been presented with the costs of this attempt to impose it across society." He added that civil liberties in Britain were under assault, which his group continues to oppose. Mr. Miller said, "We are presented with terms ranging from convenience to security when this would mean an assault on our liberty, privacy, and freedom." The Prime Minister has acknowledged that officials are unsure of the total cost of the proposed digital ID scheme. Asked what the expense to taxpayers might be, Keir Starmer said, "At the moment there's no additional cost because we're going through the consultation exercise, so that's all accounted for. Until we get to the end of that exercise, we won't know the full cost." William Yarwood of the Taxpayers Alliance said, "The government needs to urgently come clean about what they expect the cost of the proposed digital ID system to be. As well as posing a potential threat to civil liberties, the lesson of similar government projects is that they've ended up way over budget and significantly delayed. Ministers should cancel this project. Such a significant change to the relationship between the state and the individual should at least have the democratic legitimacy of appearing in an election manifesto." What are your thoughts on what we discussed in today's video? Let me know down in the comment section below. If you have not yet already, make sure you do drop a like on this video and subscribe to the channel for more British content. Thank you, take care, goodbye.